By the way, 15 years after the day he signed with the Saints, Drew Brees officially announced his retirement. And, his place among the greatest quarterbacks of all time is secure. He retires, most passing yards in NFL history. But the lasting legacy is not about as a football player. It's really the connection to the city of New Orleans. After Hurricane Katrina, Brees and the Saints provided that beacon of hope during a very tough time. And Brees threw himself into relief efforts. He remained an active member of his community. And his rise to the Hall of Fame wasn't exactly a straight line. Here's an Austin, Texas native, wasn't recruited by the University of Texas, went to Purdue, went to the Chargers, second round, good in San Diego, got hurt, and then he didn't go to Miami to play for Nick Saban. He was united with Sean Payton in New Orleans. They got one Super Bowl ring. He had 7 passing titles, 13 Pro Bowls, and he ends a remarkable career as the greatest player in Saints history. And you start to think about his first game, he came in relief of Doug Flutie. His only Super Bowl was a win over Peyton Manning, and his last game was a loss to Tom Brady. Remarkable career. And hopefully we'll hear from Drew here in the coming days, holding off his retirement. Made his retirement known earlier today on NBC, and here's his decision to retire.
That's a decision that you don't just wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to retire. It's definitely a process. And listen, I'm 42 years old. I've had a chance to play this game for 20 years in the NFL. And I think for the last few years, I felt like this moment was coming. And it just made me so laser focused on staying in the moment. Just knowing that at some point I will retire and move on to the next chapter. And I want to be able to look back with incredible memories and knowing that I gave it my absolute best.
Do you have an against the grain on Drew Brees, McLevin?
I do. And it's just, I don't want to say anything mean about him today of all days, but I don't know if I can hold back.
Okay. How about we take a break? And then you can be mean to Drew Brees, and then Mike Florio is going to join us.
That sounds good.
Okay. Is that all right?
Yeah.
I don't want to overhype this, but...
No, it's not overhype. It's just... It's not the day to go negative on Drew Brees, and that's why it's against the grain.
Make sure you sign up for the DP Show newsletter, danpatrick.com. You get a wrap-up of the day's show. Arrives in your email, your inbox, 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. All right, McLevin, are you ready to be mean to Drew Brees on the day after he announces his retirement?
Okay, just real quick. I've been hearing a lot of where's Drew Brees rank all time.
Wait, now is this Tuesday mid-morning quarterback on a Monday?
This is TMMQB on Monday.
Okay.
New segment, Super the Nation.
Okay.
So Drew Brees, all-time leading passer, right?
Yeah.
Big numbers. Okay, come on. He's not going to be a top 5 all-time quarterback. You can't ignore the fact that he did this in a dome and that his rating is 11 points lower on the road than it is at home. There's just no way he ends up in the top 5. I think he's always going to be viewed by that.
Did Peyton Manning do most of his damage in a dome?
He did. And I do not put Peyton Manning as high as everyone else either. I put Elway ahead of Manning for that very reason.
Okay.
I have Drew Brees 8th on my list here.
Give me your list.
Tom Brady, Joe Montana, John Elway, Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, Aaron Rodgers. This is where I'm going to get in trouble. I put Favre ahead of Brees. Is that completely crazy? Favre's got 1 million interceptions. That's the one where I wasn't sure. So I have Brees just a little bit lower. And then Steve Young right after Brees. So I have Brees 8 and Steve Young 9.
Well, I'd probably look at it and go, if I had to rely on my quarterback, like, can I just put the game plan on him? Favre, you put the game plan on him. I don't know if you always put the game plan on Drew Brees. Elway, definitely.
What about Marino, who never won a Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's hard to get in that top 5 if you haven't won a Super Bowl. Whether that's being fair to Marino or not. But I feel like today's rules, Marino would be what he did when he did it in 1984 he was so far ahead of his time, and if you gave him today, where you can't put your hand on anybody, and I mean, he'd throw for probably close to 6,000 yards. It feels like. Yeah, McClellan.
This is a question for you and maybe for Mike too. Like, what about the older guys though? I guess this is the last 30 years because the Staubach or Bradshaw or Johnny U. Like, I don't know how you compare those. Do you do that game or do you stay away?
It feels like it's pre-1980, post-1980. Maybe it's pre-1990. I mean, we get into these arguments, these discussions, and is Brady better than Montana? Because he has more Super Bowls, I guess. Yeah. But I think Elway's the best quarterback of all time, in my opinion. But Brady is the most decorated. Bill Russell's the most decorated basketball player. He's not the best player of all time. So, I don't know if that answers.
That wasn't too mean to Drew Brees. He'll still come on the show, right?
Well, we'll see.